Hello. Are you a planner? Do you like to sit down at your computer or your organizer every year and write down everything that you plan on doing, your goals, how you're going to get to those goals each step along the way, uh, all the contingency plans, the plan A, the plan B, the plan C, the plan D, the plan E, etc., etc. Do you get really worked up and worried about making sure that you have thought of every single option for your future, every single scenario, worst case, best case, what you want, etc., etc. Now, I know a lot of people don't resonate with that, and that's fine, but there are a lot of people who do, and they've always operated in the system of needing to plan and structure and be prepared, but in a very kind of obsessive way. And I was one of them. And I used to have 5-10 year goal plans for every area of my life. I had really, really extremely detailed spreadsheets that I kept for every area of my life. And they helped me feel control. And I'm not saying they don't give you a measure of control, but for me, they gave me a false sense of security, a false sense of control. And the part that doesn't sit with me anymore is the part where we assume we know what systems are going to be in place, what is going to be in play in the future. And right now we're in a time of immense uncertainty, and we're talking financially, we're talking medically, we're talking climate-wise, we're talking family structures, we're talking travel and food on our plates, and we're talking so many systems that previously, even just more than a couple of years ago, we wouldn't really be worried about. We would assume what's been will continue in our lives. But now it's at this point where we're like, oh, hang on a second, things are radically changing and they might not stay the same. And I doubt they will, I'll be very honest with you. So the old me that used to plan and prepare is being challenged, because I used to base my planning on what I thought I knew about the world and how it was structured, how the system worked. But because there is such radical changes going on in our world right now, I cannot sit down and prepare the same way. And that's given me a bit of anxiety, I'll be honest with you. And this is something I've had to come to terms with in the last couple of years, is because I've always been such a planner. So my need to control and understand and be aware of every, scenario that could occur was so great that when this unease came and this uncertainty came into our lives, I felt anxious. That fear started to creep in, that I didn't have that control of the future. And so we still naturally, we want to plan for our future, especially if we have families, if we have children, we want to plan and make sure everything's going to be okay, but we can't guarantee that now. What we can do is the best we can in the system. But for me, I'm someone who, fortunately, I have a lot of room to move, a lot of freedom in terms of I don't have a lot of commitments in my life in the system. And when I talk about the system, I'm talking about the structure that seems to be crumbling. I'm talking about the medical system, the financial system, talking about the career structure, workplace system, the get trained, go into a workforce for 20 years, 9-to-5 job or career at least for 20 years, and then come out and have enough super and savings and ready to go for retirement. And then we go, I don't think that's going to be the way we're going to be moving into the future. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, I'm trying to be realistic. I also think that system is broken anyway, and I don't need to go on about that. So the need for me to plan is still a little bit there, but I have to approach this differently. And I'm still seeking unshakable inner peace. So how do I ensure that I don't have that anxiety where I can't plan for my future? Well, this is a really good question. I think a lot of us have been faced with this question. How do we feel centered and peaceful and calm and stay in love with an open heart when we don't know the future? We don't know, we can't plan for it now. Well, this is where I've discovered and been shown a really beautiful way to go instead, and that is only ever taking inspired action. So in the past, I would sit down, my small self, this body and this mind, and I would plan as much as I could. I would think about everything that I wanted, think about the system I could work within, and I would go forth and plan. But now I cannot do the same thing. I need to only take inspired action. What's inspired action? Inspiration comes from source. Inspiration works through us, through our hearts, and gives us guidance and intuition and wisdom and intelligence to move forward, whatever that next step is, whatever that next vision is. We're given that by source. When we take inspired action, we're taking action in the unity place. We're not taking action in the polarity of fear and concern and anxiety and anger and frustration. We're not doing that, because that's only going to lead to more of the same. So we cannot plan anymore within that old structure of polarity. We cannot plan according to our fear. We cannot make plans and goals for ourselves according to fear, according to run away from pain. Running away from pain is only going to keep us in the perpetual cycle of polarity. So if we want to find that unity, that oneness, that unshakable inner peace, we cannot operate from polarity anymore when we make plans. We need to be able to take inspired action only. So that means periods of stillness, periods of not taking action, periods of trust, periods of faith, rather than trying to control everything with our small selves, which only leads to more pain and suffering. So we need to begin to be okay with stillness. And that's meditation, often in the form of meditation. Be okay with not having an action plan sometimes. And for me, I wanted to have the sanctuary of somewhere safe that I could go for my own home and for my own dwelling, and, a safe sort of shield over my food and how I would obtain food. And a lot of people are talking about creating this self-sustainable model for themselves, but sometimes it's not that easy. For me, it's not that easy. I'm not with the means to be able to go and do that right now. So my former self would be anxious about that. It would be, let's quick and do the next best thing we can. Let's go get a loan and we'll work out how to pay it off, and all of these kind of reacting to pain, chasing, allowing fear to chase our tails, so that we act without inspiration. When we act without inspiration, we continue to dig ourselves more holes. And so what I'm trying to say here today is that if you're uncertain about the future and you used to plan, it's okay. I understand. A lot of us are in the same boat. Many of us are in the same boat. We've been challenged to try a new way of living, the way I believe we're supposed to be living, and that's with presence and with trust and with inspired action, and not with over control of things, with fear, with running away from things, with action, too much action and not enough stillness and inspiration from source. So rather than all of that, we need to really just be okay with not knowing, because we're not afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of our worst case scenario taking place. The unknown is the unknown. It doesn't have a charge to it, a negative or positive association or polarity yet. It's unknown. We need to be okay with that. And that takes a lot of courage. Courage. Cur means the heart. We need to live in our hearts. We can only take inspired action and receive that inspired information if we live in our hearts, if we remain open-hearted. And have a look at my last 2 videos about how to do that. So if you're a planner, just relax, meditate more, be still, wait for inspired action, wait for guidance. Don't try and do it all now. You cannot do it all now with your small self. It's just going to lead to suffering. We must trust. We must have faith. And we will be guided. What a wonderful way to be, hey? To be guided in each step of the way, in total trust, total surrender, unshakable inner peace. It'll be okay if you stay in that heart space. Stay focused on God, on Source, on Spirit, on the Creator. Remember who you really are. And you will be given the answers. You don't need to plan every little step on your own. So I hope this has encouraged you to relax a little bit. Don't get anxious about the unknown. The unknown is simply the unknown. It's okay. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share, comment, start a conversation, and have a beautiful day. See ya.